my sister humiliated me at her baby shower that I organized, mocking my miscarriage in front of 50 people. Years later, I had my baby in secret. Now they're begging to meet their granddaughter, but I shut them out forever. And I have zero regrets. I'm 32 years old. I work as an event coordinator for a marketing company, and I never thought I'd end up completely cutting contact with my family. But here I am. And honestly, I don't regret it one bit. All of this started about a year and a half ago when my younger sister Kayla announced she was pregnant, and I, being the idiot I was at that time, offered to organize her baby shower because I thought that's what big sisters are supposed to do, right? But let me backtrack a bit, because you need to understand all the context for this to make sense. I've been married to Adam for like 6 years, and since we got married, we started trying to have kids, the normal way, no pressure at first. The first few months were like, well, these things take time, no big deal, but after a year, we started to worry. We went to the doctor, got all the tests done, and turns out I had some fertility issues. Nothing super serious according to the doctors, but enough to make things difficult. We went through treatments, injections, all that shit that nobody tells you is so invasive and exhausting, both physically and emotionally. And after like a year and a half of trying with medical help, I finally got pregnant. We were euphoric, like literally crying with happiness. We started planning everything, bought some baby stuff even though we knew it was early, but we couldn't help it. And then at 11 weeks, I had a miscarriage. I don't know if you've been through that or know someone who has, but it's devastating in a way you can't really explain. It's like all that hope and that future you'd built in your mind just disappears. And on top of that, your body betrays you in the worst possible way. Adam was incredible through all of that. Honestly, he held me when I couldn't even get out of bed. But it was hard for both of us. After that, we decided to take a break. We needed to process everything emotionally before trying again. And we basically spent like 6 months trying to heal, going to therapy, all that. My family knew all of this. You know what I mean? My mom, Karen, my dad, Gregory, and especially Kayla. They all knew what we'd been through. Kayla at that time was relatively understanding. I mean, she'd send me messages asking how I was. That kind of thing. But looking back, I should have realized that she was never really good at listening or putting herself in other people's shoes. She was always like the center of attention in the family, the baby, the spoiled one, and I was the responsible one, the one who had to have everything under control and help everyone. That dynamic never really changed, not even when we became adults. So anyway, Kayla got pregnant when she was 2. 7I was already 31 at that point, and obviously everyone in the family was super excited. She got married like a year before to her college boyfriend, and everything was very quick and easy for her. She got pregnant basically on the first try, and I tried to be happy for her. I really did. But I'm not going to lie. Part of me was jealous and hurt, because why was it so easy for her and so hard for me? But I swallowed those feelings because I didn't want to be that bitter person who can't be happy for her sister, you know? When Kayla asked me to organize her baby shower, she told me she trusted me because I work with events and knew I'd do something beautiful. And I, being the big sister who always wants to do everything perfect, said yes immediately. What she didn't know, and what nobody in my family knew at that time, is that I had just found out I was pregnant again. I was like 4 weeks pregnant when Kayla asked me, and Adam and I had decided not to tell anyone until at least the first 12 weeks passed. Because after what happened last time, we were terrified it would happen again, and we didn't want to go through the pain of having to tell everyone again if something went wrong. So there I was, secretly pregnant, with all the morning sickness and fatigue of the first trimester, organizing the perfect baby shower for my sister. And when I say perfect, I mean perfect, because Kayla had a super specific vision of what she wanted. She wanted an adventure awaits theme like woodland animals but elegant, with sage green and gold colors, gourmet food, specific games, handmade decorations, the whole thing. I literally spent 2 months planning every detail, finding the perfect venue, hiring the catering she wanted, which wasn't cheap, by the way, like $2,500 for 50 people, making centerpieces myself, because the ones we found weren't exactly what she wanted, coordinating with all the guests, everything. The day of the baby shower arrived and I was exhausted. I'd gone 3 days with almost no sleep, finishing the last details, and on top of that, the pregnancy nausea had me feeling terrible, but I took my prenatal vitamins secretly, put on my best face, and made sure everything was perfect for Kayla. The event was at a beautiful garden I rented. The decorations looked gorgeous. The food smelled amazing. And when Kayla arrived and saw everything, her face lit up and she hugged me, saying it was exactly what she'd dreamed of. And I felt good. You know? Like all the effort had been worth it. The first 2 hours went well. Like, people arrived, we ate, played some games, Kayla was happy opening gifts, and I was there making sure everything flowed smoothly, taking pictures, coordinating that they brought the cake at the right time. All those things. My mom was there helping a bit, but mainly socializing. My dad was in a corner talking with other dads and uncles about I don't know what, and Kayla's best friend Rachel was basically glued to Kayla the whole time. I've always kind of disliked Rachel. Honestly. She's one of those super dramatic people who always has to be the center of attention and make unnecessary comments about everything. But since she was Kayla's best friend, I was always cordial with her. So we got to the moment of opening gifts, and Kayla was in her element, super excited opening each thing, and Rachel was sitting next to her making comments about each gift, like, oh, how cute this is, oh, I gave something better, that kind of thing. I was standing nearby taking pictures and making sure someone was writing down who gave what for the thank you cards. And suddenly, out of nowhere, Rachel turns to me and says out loud, loud enough for like half the people there to hear, "Hey, Olivia, weren't you going to have a baby too?" What happened with that? The place went silent, like, you could hear a pin drop, and I froze with my phone in my hand. And before I could say anything, Rachel continued, with that fake smile she has, saying, "Oh, right. You lost the baby, didn't you? How sad. And plus you still can't get pregnant after all this time. It must be frustrating to be here celebrating Kayla's pregnancy when you can't have your own children, right?" I literally couldn't breathe. I felt like I'd been punched in the stomach. I looked at Kayla expecting her to say something, to shut her up, to defend me, something. But Kayla just sat there with an uncomfortable expression. And this is what hurt me the most. She shrugged and said, "Well, Rachel, it's not a lie. It has been difficult for Olivia," as if she was justifying what Rachel had just done. As if it was okay for her friend to publicly humiliate me about the worst moment of my life at an event that I had organized for her. Some people at the baby shower looked uncomfortable. Others looked away, and I felt like everyone was staring at me with pity, and that feeling was worse than anything else. My hands were shaking, and I knew if I stayed one more second, I was going to break down crying in front of everyone. I approached Kayla and told her quietly, "I need you to ask Rachel to leave. Now." And Kayla looked at me like I was the one being irrational and said, "Olivia, I'm not going to kick my best friend out of my baby shower. It's fine. What she said is true anyway. It's not that big of a deal." And that's when something in me just broke. I told her, "You know what? Have fun with your baby shower. I'm leaving." And she said, "Wait, you still have to pay the other half of the catering." And I laughed, like a humorless laugh, and told her, "After what just happened, are you seriously asking me that? Pay for it yourself." And I left. Just like that. Walked out of that garden with people still staring at me, got in my car and drove home crying the whole way. Adam was at home because he had decided not to go to the baby shower. Baby showers aren't his thing. And when he saw me arrive crying and I told him what had happened, he got furious. Like, I'd never seen him so angry. He hugged me and told me he couldn't believe my own sister had done that to me, and that Rachel was a horrible person, and that nobody had the right to humiliate me like that, especially considering everything I had done for that event. That night, Adam went on Facebook and wrote a public post tagging Rachel, saying something like, "What you did today was incredibly cruel and sick, publicly humiliating someone about their fertility and their loss. And if you don't delete all your posts mocking my wife and apologize publicly, we're going to take legal action for harassment." And I guess Rachel got scared because the next day she had deleted everything and had published a generic apology like, "If I offended anyone yesterday, I'm sorry. It wasn't my intention. Blah, blah, blah." But she never contacted me directly, never really apologized to me. What did happen is that my mom called me the next day super upset, saying how dare I abandon my sister's baby shower and leave her with a catering bill she couldn't pay, and that Adam had been horrible to Rachel on social media, and that I was being dramatic and vindictive. And I told her, "Mom, did you hear what Rachel did to me? Did you see that Kayla didn't defend me?" And my mom said, "Well, yes, Rachel shouldn't have said that, but you know how she is. She always says things without thinking, and Kayla was having her special day and didn't want to create drama. And you made it worse by leaving like that. I couldn't believe it. My own mother was justifying what had happened. I told her I wasn't going to pay for that catering, that Kayla could ask her dear Rachel to pay for it if she supported her so much, and that I wasn't going to apologize for anything because I hadn't done anything wrong. My mom started yelling at me, saying I was being selfish and jealous of Kayla's pregnancy, and that I needed to get over my loss and be happy for my sister. And I hung up on her, literally hung up the phone on my mom for the first time in my life. Kayla sent me messages all that week demanding that I pay for the catering and apologize to Rachel for Adam's threat. I responded only once, telling her I wasn't going to do either of those two things, and that if she wanted to have a real conversation about what happened and why what she did was wrong, we could talk, but until then we had nothing to say to each other. She responded with a long message saying I was a terrible sister, that after everything she had done for me, I couldn't even be happy for her for one day, and that if I was going to be like that, she wasn't going to let me meet her baby when it was born. And I responded, okay, if that's what you want, perfect, and blocked her number. My dad didn't get involved in any of this. By the way, he never gets involved in family drama. He basically lives in his own world, ignoring all conflict, which is frustrating in its own way, but at least he's not actively on Kayla's side like my mom. Months passed, and I concentrated on my own pregnancy, on taking care of myself, going to all my medical appointments, preparing myself mentally and emotionally for the possibility of another loss. Although I tried not to think about that. Adam was my rock during all that time, always there, always supporting me, always reminding me that our family now was us two, and potentially our baby, and that we didn't need toxic people in our lives. Kayla had her baby, a girl, and my mom sent me photos and told me Kayla wanted me to come meet her, but that first I had to apologize. I said no, and my mom started with how I was being ridiculous and taking this too far, and that family is family and we should get over this. But I was already tired, emotionally exhausted from this whole situation, and I told her I wasn't going to apologize for defending myself from abuse and public humiliation, and that if Kayla ever wanted to have a relationship with me, she knew where to find me. Fast forward 4 months after the birth of the niece I never met, I was already in my second trimester, starting the third, and everything was going well with my pregnancy. The doctors said the baby was healthy. There were no signs of complications, and I was starting to relax a bit and really believe that this time it was going to work. And then I receive a message from Kayla, from a different number because I had her blocked, saying, "Hi, I know things are weird between us, but I need to ask you a favor. I need you to watch my baby 2 days a week because I'm going back to work and daycare is too expensive. And since you work from home, sometimes I thought you could help me. We're family after all." The audacity, you know? Months without talking to me, without apologizing, making me feel like I was the villain. And suddenly she contacts me because she needs something from me, not even asking how I am or trying to fix things, just asking me to watch her baby for free, basically. I responded, "Kayla, I'm not going to do that. And besides, I'm pregnant and going to have my own baby soon, so I'm not going to be available to watch yours." And she responded, "Wait, you're pregnant? Why didn't you tell me?" And I'm like, "Are you seriously asking me that? After how you treated me at your baby shower and everything that happened after?" She started complaining, saying I should have told her that it was important, that she's my sister. And I told her, "Look, you decided you didn't want me to meet your daughter unless I humiliated myself by apologizing for something I didn't do wrong. So I decided you don't need to know about my pregnancy or my life." We stopped talking, remember? And I blocked her again from that number too. My mom obviously found out and called me hysterical, saying how could I be so cruel not to tell them I was pregnant, that they were my family and had a right to know, and that I was being vindictive and using my baby as a weapon against Kayla. And I was so tired of all that. I told her, "Mom, you guys chose to support Kayla when she and her friend humiliated me at the most vulnerable moment of my life. You made me feel like my pain didn't matter, that I should just get over it and be happy for her no matter how they treated me. And now you want me to share the good things in my life with you? It doesn't work like that. And if you can't understand why what happened was wrong and why it hurt me so much, then we have nothing more to talk about." And I blocked her too. Blocked my mom. Something I never thought I'd do. My pregnancy continued without complications. Thank God. And last December, my daughter was born. a beautiful, healthy baby who cries a lot but is perfect. And Adam and I were in a bubble of completely overwhelming happiness. Like, that happiness you feel when you finally have something you waited for so long and thought maybe you'd never have. We didn't tell my family when she was born. Didn't let them know I was in labor. Nothing. My mother-in-law was there. Some close friends visited us after, but my biological family didn't know anything. Like 2 weeks after the birth, when I was already more recovered and we were adjusting to life with a newborn, I decided to post a photo of my daughter on Instagram. It wasn't to rub anything in their faces or to be dramatic. I simply wanted to share my happiness like any new mom. And most of my family was blocked on Facebook, but not on Instagram, because I barely use Instagram, so I didn't even think about it. I posted a beautiful photo of her with a simple caption like, "Welcome to the world, my love. Mom and Dad waited for you for so long, and you're worth every second of the wait." And then my phone exploded. Like, calls from numbers I didn't recognize, messages from cousins and aunts and uncles asking if it was true. When had it happened? Why didn't I tell them? My mom managed to contact me through my mother-in-law, of all things, calling Adam's mom to demand explanations. And my mother-in-law basically told her that we had decided to keep our pregnancy and the birth private after how they treated me, and that she respected our decision, which, I love my mother-in-law, she's amazing. Finally, my dad called, Gregory, who never calls, never gets involved, and he sounded genuinely confused and a bit hurt, saying, "Olivia, is it true you had a baby and didn't tell us? Your mom is devastated. Kayla is furious. The whole family is upset. Why would you do something like that?" And I explained to him. I explained everything from the beginning, about the baby shower, the humiliation, the lack of support, the demands for apologies I didn't owe, being blocked and contacted only when they needed something from me. And I told him, "Dad, you guys made your decision to side with Kayla no matter how she hurt me, and I made my decision to protect myself and my family from more harm. My daughter isn't going to grow up watching how they treat her mom. I'm not going to expose her to that toxicity." My dad was quiet for a while and then said, "But we're your family. You can't just cut us off like this." And I told him, "Family doesn't mean you can treat me however, and I should just take it. Family means mutual respect and support. And you, guys didn't give me that when I needed it most. So now I'm choosing my own family. Adam and my daughter. And they're my priority. If at some point Kayla and Mom can acknowledge what they did wrong and really apologize, not these fake apologies like, 'Sorry you feel that way,' then maybe we can talk. But until then, I need you to respect my boundaries." I don't know if he really understood, but he said he would respect it. And since then, I haven't had much contact with them. My dad sends me a message occasionally asking how we are, and I respond briefly, like, "We're fine, thanks." But we don't start long conversations or share details of our life. My mom and Kayla have tried to contact me through other people, sending messages like, "We just want to meet our granddaughter. It's not fair that you're keeping her away from the family." But never a, "Sorry for how we treated you." Never a real acknowledgement that they hurt me. And the thing is, I don't feel guilty, you know? Before I thought, maybe I was being too harsh, that maybe I was overreacting. But Adam constantly reminds me that what they did to me was wrong. My therapist, yeah, I went back to therapy after all this, has helped me see that setting boundaries isn't being cruel. It's taking care of myself. And when I look at my daughter, when I see her sleeping or smiling or just existing, I know I made the right decision to distance myself from people who make me feel less than enough. My daughter is almost 10 months old now. She's starting to try to walk, says Mama and Dada, and she's basically the center of our universe. And she's growing up in an environment full of love without toxicity, surrounded by people who genuinely love and support us. My mother-in-law adores her. My close friends are like uncles and aunts to her, and that's enough, more than enough. She doesn't need to know people who humiliated her mom and then acted like Mom was the problem. She doesn't need that kind of influence in her life. Sometimes I wonder if I did the right thing. If maybe I should have given them another chance. If when my daughter grows up, she's going to ask me why she doesn't know her maternal grandparents or her aunt. But then I remember that day at the baby shower. I remember feeling small and humiliated while my sister shrugged, like my pain didn't matter. I remember my mom calling me dramatic for defending myself. And I know I can't allow that energy to be around my daughter. I can't teach her that it's okay to let people treat you badly just because they're family. I guess this is what it feels like to grow up and set real boundaries. It hurts and it's uncomfortable, and people are going to make you feel guilty. But at the end of the day, I have to be able to look at myself in the mirror and know I'm doing the right thing for my family, for the family Adam and I created. And that's what matters now. I'm no longer living to please others or meet expectations of how family is supposed to be. I'm living for me and for my husband and for my daughter. And honestly, I've never felt more at peace. Even with all the distance and drama, there's a kind of relief in knowing I don't have to subject myself to that kind of treatment ever again. That I closed that door and that it's okay for it to stay closed until someone on the other side really wants to open it the right way, with respect and with a genuine apology. And if that never happens, well, then I guess that's how things will be. And I'm learning to be okay with that.